Alright friends, today we have a new package. This is the FITCAMX dash cam, ideal for driving. It is 4K. I did get this and I believe it is front and rear. So let's go ahead and open it up and see what's inside. On the inside we have dash camera package, accessories, not much else. Alright, I unboxed the box. It does come with the user manual, the accessories box, and the dash camera box. We want none of those things right now. We just want to see what's inside. Oh. So, yes, this is the rear camera that I will be installing. And then we've got a T-harness, no surprise there. And this is, I'm guessing, part of the main camera. So this is the main camera. Oh, and it even comes with its own SD card. These are going to be the power cords to it, obviously. It's a fairly simple build, and this is supposed to look factory, obviously. We like things to be factory around here. It will be installed right under the rear view mirror, and it'll fit in really nicely. This is just, you know, some extra security besides just relying on the Tesla cameras and video. For accessories, they give you a lovely Type-C to USB-A adapter so that you can transfer video files from the SD card, the micro SD card, onto a regular SD card, or you can plug this into like a computer to transfer video files. I've already got like 10 of these laying around. And they also give you a really adorable tiny pry tool. This is actually really cute, and I will definitely be keeping this because it's perfect for my little hands, but it's actually really nice that they include this because you do need one of these for the install. And then of course this is the rear camera. It has a lot of cord, and then it comes with these little adhesive clips so that you can run the cord with adhesive along the glass instead of just having the wire hanging and being in the way. Some of you might remember in a previous video we had installed a back screen here, and I do still have it. I did have to remove it for this because the camera does require the OBD2 sensor where the screen was plugged in. Now, I am planning on buying a OBD2 splitter so that I can have more than one device plugged in. I recommend a splitter instead of daisy chaining your T-harnesses. It's just safer and gives a more secure output to your devices, whereas daisy chaining can cause issues with loss of power, reduced power to the devices, short circuiting, things like that. Daisy chaining is never a smart idea. So just like before, we have got to remove this bottom panel here so that we can go ahead and get to that OBD2 sensor and connect the T-harness. So I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. So this isn't the easiest to do, but you basically take a pry tool and you go into the seam and you kind of work your way around until it pops out so that you're able to get in there and get this removed so that we can get into all the goodies. And then once you've got it basically popped out like this, you can just grab it and pull, but I do need both hands for that. Alright, so there is the OBD2. Now, on every harness, there is a lever that has to be pressed down in order to release the clip from the other end. So if you're ever just pulling and struggling, remember there is always a lever of some sort to release first. Now, after a casualty on my own hand trying to pull these apart, I'm going to install this T-harness so that we can get the power cord for the camera installed up front. We are going to run the cord in between the seats under the trim piece for the center console. Alright, and once you have it plugged in, you're going to shove any of the extra cable in that little cubby there so that everything can fit nice and tight behind the cover, and then we'll pop the cover back on. I've already started routing the cable up the center. So I've got everything back here put together, everything's looking good. We're just going to run all of this cable up front. Alright, so like I said, I'm just going to run this up this center console here. It's going to get tucked under this seam and go all the way up here under the footwell. We're going to go under the dash. We're going to come over to the side, up this pillar until we reach here, and then it'll go all the way over there. Alright, so as you can see by the little bit of wire sticking out, I've fed it under this seam. There are some parts that are harder to get it under, so since they're floor mats, I'm just going to leave it like that. And I have it coming up, and now it's coming around. And then this piece of trim here in the door well is what you need to pull off. So first you have to start by pulling the rubber off from the door so that you can pop this panel. This panel is really easy. As you can see, they're just clips. So I went ahead and pulled it starting from this end here closest to the seat and working my way this way because there is a bolt that holds it in place. I then fished the wire through, so it's hanging here, and we're just going to start feeding it up the A-pillar until we get up to the ceiling where we can run it over. As with any install that runs along your A-pillar, you need to be careful of the airbags. You do not want the wire to be wrapped around this, because if you get into an accident and this goes off, that wire is deadly. So I have the wire coming up. It goes up here. I made sure it's above the airbag so that if the airbag goes off, it still protects you from the glass and from hitting your head on the window, and it's not in the way. It comes all the way up to this seam, and now we're going to work on running it along the roof panel to where the camera will go. Okay, so I find it easiest to get this done by using a hook type pry tool, and you slip it under the panel and then you pull down while you use your other hand to feed the wire through. Alright, so I've made it all the way to the mirror. So what needs to happen next is this little cap needs to come off of the mirror. On top of that, I need to pop this down so I can run the wire inside and actually connect the camera. All of this extra wire that I have is just going to go up in this pillar. It's just extra length in case you ran it a different way. Right, not gonna lie, this piece is a pain to remove. Regular pry tools and pick tools do not work. I actually had to use a nail file to wedge it in there to get a pry tool in to get it to release. Next, getting this off. You need to pry from the corners first. There are 4 clips that hold this in place. One of my clips came off. It's sitting right there. I will have to put it back on before I can get this reinstalled. But this is the hardest part so far. Alright, so I'm running out of daylight, because of course I am. I've got the rear camera connected and the front camera connected. As you can see, there's some flashing lights showing it's getting power. I just have to get these cords stuffed in there. And then I've got the rear camera running all the way through this pillar, all the way through here in the back, as you can see. And there is a lot of extra cord for the back, so I actually popped this panel off, and I'm going to try and store all the extra wire in here above the airbag. So here's the airbag. Wire goes above the airbag. And then, yeah, we just run it over here. It'll sit center, and I will clip the wiring right here at the seam of the roof. So the next step is to install the app, which on the user manual has QR codes for you to scan, so it's pretty easy. I'm just gonna go ahead and install this and get it set up. Alright, in the pale light of the evening, I learned that the rear camera faces a specific direction, which means the wire run goes to the passenger side, up that pillar, across the center roof beam, and then down and over. So that is what I'm working on fixing right now. Alright, I've got the rear reinstalled. Comes all the way along the pillar, through the center, up the front. Now I just have to fix that. And after some more struggle bussing, it is installed. And I do have it with the app downloaded, so let's go ahead and see what it looks like. You can see the front camera does see my truck, and then the rear camera is on there. I can click this button and it switches cameras. So now I have the rear camera showing and the front camera in the little corner. There is record, take pictures, and then settings. Yeah, it took me all day, but I am also not as skilled as my husband is at installing these kinds of things, so I'm just happy I was able to get it done. Oh look, front, rear. Isn't that amazing? And it totally fits in. Like, you can't even tell that this is aftermarket. It just is so seamless with everything. The only thing that isn't as seamless is the rear camera, but like, you can hardly see that, right? Like, maybe in the daylight you'll be able to see the wire run, but honestly, anybody who is behind you probably won't notice it. So yeah, this is all set. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will probably be back after winter because I do not have a garage to be doing installs. I do have a few more installs lined up. Sorry for the delay on everything. If you are interested in this camera, if you want one for yourself, they are made specifically per model. So you can enter your vehicle information and they will send you the front or the front and rear. There will be a promotion code down in the description so that you can get a discount on your order, but I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!